Good evening. As the sun sets and the lights flicker on at your local Walmart, millions of Americans are making their way through the sliding doors, ready to fill their shopping carts with the essentials of daily life. Tonight, we're not talking about distant wars or political summits. We're talking about a conflict that hits your wallet every time you shop. It's a struggle that plays out in the aisles, at the checkout counter, and in the choices you make for your family. The American economy is the battleground, and consumers like you are on the front lines. Every price tag, every discount, and every product on the shelf is shaped by forces far beyond these walls. A major policy decision in Washington, tariffs on Chinese goods, is now shaping what you pay at Walmart. These tariffs, essentially taxes on imports, ripple through the supply chain and land squarely in your shopping cart. Walmart isn't just a store. It's a mirror of the American economy. When it feels a tremor, it signals a much bigger shakeup. What happens here often reflects what's happening across the country. The Trump administration's tariffs aim to protect American jobs by making Chinese imports more expensive, hoping to boost U.S. manufacturing. The idea was to encourage companies to buy and produce more goods here at home. But economic policies rarely go as planned. The impact has been complex, with winners and losers, and Walmart is at the center. Some products have become more expensive, while others have disappeared from shelves altogether. Tonight, we'll cut through the rhetoric and look at how these tariffs are affecting real families and businesses. For many, the changes are subtle but significant, felt in the weekly grocery bill or the cost of back-to-school supplies. The effects are no longer theoretical. They're here, shaping your budget and the nation's financial landscape. Every dollar spent or saved tells a story about how policy decisions in Washington reach into American homes. The story of Walmart and tariffs is the story of modern American economic policy and its direct impact on you. Let's see how these global decisions are changing the way you shop, save, and live. To truly grasp the challenges Walmart faces today, we need to rewind the clock and look at the bigger picture. For decades, the United States depended heavily on China as its manufacturing powerhouse. American companies, including Walmart, sourced countless products from Chinese factories, taking advantage of lower costs and efficient production. But beneath the surface, tensions simmered over trade imbalances, accusations of unfair practices, and concerns about intellectual property theft. In response, the Trump administration launched a bold move, imposing sweeping tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods. These tariffs covered a vast range of products, from raw materials like steel and aluminum to everyday items like toys, electronics, and clothing. The idea was simple: make Chinese imports more expensive, encourage companies to buy American-made goods, and pressure China to change its trade policies. It was a high-stakes gamble with global implications. However, most economists quickly pointed out a crucial detail. Tariffs are usually paid by U.S. importers, not Chinese exporters. This meant American businesses would bear the brunt of the new costs. Companies then faced a tough decision: absorb the extra expense themselves, or pass it along to you, the consumer, in the form of higher prices at the checkout. As tariffs expanded and uncertainty grew, businesses scrambled to adapt. Many began rerouting their supply chains, searching for alternative suppliers, and warning of potential consequences for the entire economy. The world watched closely as the US and China engaged in a tit-for-tat trade war, each side imposing new tariffs and retaliatory measures. The question was never if there would be an impact, but rather how deeply it would affect American businesses, workers, and families struggling to make ends meet. And as the storm clouds gathered, Walmart was about to find out just how much the world had changed. Today, the results of this economic experiment are clear on Walmart's shelves. As you walk through the aisles, you can see firsthand how global trade policies shape the prices and products available to everyday Americans. Walmart's famous promise of everyday low prices is under pressure. When tariffs are imposed, the cost of goods like electronics, home goods, and apparel rises sharply. These are the very items millions of families rely on for daily life, and now they're becoming less affordable. Multiple studies confirm that these increased costs are passed almost entirely to U.S. consumers. This means that when you reach the checkout, you're likely to see higher prices on your receipt, sometimes unexpectedly so. Everyday essentials like bicycles, luggage, and even seafood have seen price hikes of 10% or more. For families on a budget, these increases can make a real difference in what they can afford. Walmart's own CFO has acknowledged the challenge, stating, "Sustained, broad-based tariffs will ultimately result in price increases for our customers." The company is transparent about the fact that these costs can't simply be absorbed or ignored. The reality is, Walmart can't fully absorb these rising costs, and shifting supply chains to new countries is a slow, complex, and expensive process. It's not as simple as finding a new supplier overnight. For many products, especially those made at massive scale, China remains the only viable source. The sheer volume and efficiency required to stock Walmart's shelves can't be easily replicated elsewhere. The result? The American shopper is left footing the bill for the ongoing trade war. Every trip to Walmart becomes a reminder of how global economics affect local wallets. The impact is real, and it's right there in your cart, affecting what you buy, how much you spend, and even what you have to leave behind. And the ripple effects go far beyond just one retailer. Higher prices and supply chain disruptions are felt across the entire retail landscape, touching communities and families nationwide. Tariffs haven't just raised prices. They've disrupted Walmart's finely tuned supply chain. Walmart's logistics depend on stability, but tariffs brought chaos and uncertainty. Sourcing away from China led to bottlenecks in countries like Vietnam, causing delays and quality issues. Shoppers see empty shelves or out-of-stock notices, scarcity instead of abundance. Retailers rushed to import goods before tariff deadlines, overwhelming ports and warehouses, then faced slumps after tariffs hit. This boom and bust cycle adds hidden costs, driving prices even higher. Finding new suppliers isn't simple. It takes years and major investment. Smaller suppliers struggle to keep up, with some forced out of business. The entire ecosystem of affordable, diverse products is destabilized. The supply chain crisis is a hidden cost of the trade war, and it's reshaping what and how you buy. Walmart's response has been careful and calculated. Publicly, the company emphasizes its commitment to customers and strategic sourcing to minimize price hikes. Privately, Walmart lobbies policymakers, arguing that broad tariffs hurt American families and businesses. The company avoids direct criticism, instead framing the issue around consumer impact. By focusing on higher prices, Walmart aligns with shoppers' interests while sidestepping political controversy. It's a balancing act, protecting business interests without alienating customers or Washington. Behind the scenes, Walmart is pushing for smarter, more targeted trade solutions. Walmart's story is just one piece of a nationwide puzzle. Tariffs, meant to target China, have acted as a blanket tax on the U.S. economy. While a few industries saw short-term gains, most businesses, especially small ones, have suffered. Many can't shift supply chains or absorb costs, leading to layoffs and shrinking profits. China retaliated, slamming U.S. farmers with tariffs and causing exports to plummet. Billions in federal subsidies were needed to offset farm losses, a sign of self-inflicted economic pain. The trade war has slowed growth, increased uncertainty, and made companies hesitant to invest or hire. Studies show tariffs have reduced U.S. GDP and cost American jobs, contradicting their original goals. The fallout is widespread, touching every corner of the economy. The costs are real and ongoing. All these numbers add up to a real burden for American families. Tariffs are a hidden tax, hitting lower and middle-income households hardest. When prices rise on essentials, clothing, electronics, furniture, families must make tough choices or go into debt. The impact is regressive, deepening economic inequality. Businesses squeezed by tariffs may freeze wages, cut jobs, or reduce benefits. The promised manufacturing boom hasn't materialized. Instead, job losses have spread elsewhere. Rising prices and job insecurity fuel anxiety and division in communities. Economic policy isn't just about numbers, it's about people's lives. Trade experts like Dr. Emily Carter have dissected the tariff strategy. The data is clear. Tariffs were paid by Americans, not China, a tax increase on U.S. consumers and businesses. While confronting unfair trade practices is important, tariffs proved a blunt, ineffective tool. Carter argues a multilateral approach with allies would have pressured China more effectively without collateral damage. The unpredictability of tariffs eroded trust in the US as a trading partner, pushing countries to look elsewhere. Any job gains in protected industries were dwarfed by losses elsewhere. Agricultural bailouts highlighted the policy's failures. The gamble didn't pay off. Costs far outweighed the benefits. The lesson economic strength requires smarter, more strategic action. So where are we now? The evidence is clear. Tariffs have raised prices, disrupted supply chains, and hurt American families. The path forward means moving away from broad tariffs towards smarter, collaborative trade strategies. This is a conversation for everyone, not just politicians or economists. The choices made in Washington shape your wallet and your community. Stay informed, question promises, and look for real-world impacts. There are no simple solutions, only complex trade-offs. Your engagement matters. The future of economic policy depends on an informed, active public. Thank you for watching.